Hello guys, James here. Hope you're all well and welcome back to Special Ft Games. Happy holidays everyone. Today we will figure out, can we beat Pokemon Crystal with only one Delibird? What an absolute present of a challenge from me to you, back to me again. It's like the Chuckle Brothers all over again. So, why don't you pause this video right here and head over to the Consouls YouTube channel. They're a mint jazz band out of Australia that do video game covers, and they're epic. I've been listening to them all day, and I can't get enough of them. They do anything from Persona to Final Fantasy to Pokemon, and a few others in between. Why don't you hit up the comment section saying that SBG sent you? And if Consouls, if you're watching this, please do Route 113 out of Pokemon Emerald, because that's my favourite tune out of a Pokemon game. But once money gets that little bit better, I'm going to buy a few t-shirts and stuff because I want to support the band because they're unreal. I'm going to be featuring a fair few of their Pokemon tunes as this challenge progresses, so you get to listen to it here as well, but please head over there and support them there. This is my first time playing Crystal and using a Delibird, so two birds one stone as it were. This should be a really fun time. Anyways, back to the business at hand, let's go through the rules. In combat I can only use a Delibird. Held items are fine, but if I use any other items in combat, I forfeit the whole challenge. Unless of course I need to use a Pokeball to capture our HM Pokemon, that's fine. I can't use any glitches or exploits that could make this challenge way easier. For instance, I couldn't use the walk through walls cheat to bypass the league and get myself into the Hall of Fame room thingy at the end. Of course, I'll be writing the script as I head through with the challenge, so this part is wrote before I even started. Make your predictions if I can do this in the comments, because I genuinely don't know. Once we dive into the game, we head to Professor Elm's lab, and in here we eventually find our new Delibird. I end up naming her Mommy Tom after a current subscriber. If you're new around here, I do this all the time, so maybe you'll be featured in one of my videos someday. Here's our stats at level 5. I'd say this is a fairly balanced set. The extra speed could be nice, but the special defense worries me a bit. Our only move that we learn by level up is Present, which is very much a hit or miss type of move. We either do damage to our enemies or heal them up, depending. Our moves are all taught by HMs or TMs. I'm going to go through this list to see what we need as we go through the challenge. Early game, I'm predicting this is going to be awkward. Guess I was right. We get into a battle with our first Hoot Hoot on Route 29. We end up hitting Present each time, so it goes down fairly soon. The second one, on the other hand, is a nightmare. We heal more often than not, eventually using all our moves, and then start hitting Struggle. We get there in the end, but I think using Struggle in the early game at least is going to be the way forward. So now I can't heal up at Pokemon Centres for a bit. I need to use all our money that we get on potions. We enter Cherry Grove City and head up to Mr. Pokemon's house. In here we get our Pokedex and an egg. We now need to get back home because there's been a commotion at Professor Elm's lab. But before long we get ambushed by ... Just for a laugh I thought I'd try Present against our rival just to see how terrible it actually is. Turns out really bad. A combination of Totodile scratches and healing him a bunch, we eventually go down. Luckily it's not classed as a wipeout, so we can continue with our journey as he heads off to cause more havoc somewhere else. We get to Professor Elm's lab and they have been burgled by the exact trainer we fought earlier. That's how we managed to get Totodile. Now the rival makes sense. We name him Noah Hart after a current subscriber. We take the chase as we attempt to take on the League Challenge. On the way to Violet City, I make sure to run out of moves again so we can use Struggle. On the way there, we meet up with famous youngster Joey. If you can watch these challenge runs for other creators on YouTube, you know exactly what this references to. We win our battle and take down his number for future reference. We reach Faulkner's gym at level 8. I'm convinced this is impossible, but I'd like to try anyway. Yep, as I thought, this is a disaster. We can't even get past the first trainer battle in here. We end up getting outsped straight from the off. It's not even close. I'll grind levels until 12 and come back again. Luckily for me, this doesn't take too long. This is now going way better. We can chip away at both of our trainers in here, and now we can reach Faulkner. Before going into battle, I'll heal up with a potion and save naturally. He starts off with Pidgey, which only uses Tackle, so 3 struggles later makes him faint. Last but not least is Pidgeotto, which puts up a bit more of a fight. We end up winning in the end. Having that held berry was a lifesaver. I might need to get more of these as we progress through the game. We gain the Zephyr badge with only 8 health remaining. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Once we get outside, we get a phone call from Professor Elm and he tells us all about his amazing discovery. We have to go to the Pokemon Center to learn more. Once we get there, Elm's assistant gives us a Pokemon egg. You'll have to find out later on what that could be though. Let's tackle Bellsprout Tower. We take out everyone in here rather easily, but before long we get a phone call from youngster Joey again. Let's start a counter and see how many times he calls us in the run. This didn't really happen, I'm sorry. We bump into our rival who acts all tough and then uses an escape rope. This reminds me of them comedic fights where people are not getting held back in reality but say, "It's a good job I'm getting held back." Anyways, in a flash we get Flash, and then we dance with this weird plant. I know it's not just a plant, but my 3-year-old son gets me to dance to his cartoons when music is on in the exact same way, so I had to include it for making me giggle. I forget to catch a Bellsprout to use Flash, so I go back in just to get another 2 phone calls from youngster Joey. I get so unlucky with my encounters that this takes far too long, and I eventually get my egg to start to hatch. Any guesses on what it could be? It's Togepi. Luckily for us, Togepi can learn Flash, so I can move on. Yay! We get to the dark cave and we use Flash to brighten up the whole place, only to realise we can't progress. I told you I know absolutely nothing about this game. This is the cutting edge content to expect from my channel, ambitious but rubbish. Once we get ourselves back on the right track, we bump into the deal of the year. Of course we're going to buy a Slowpoke tail. Wait, how do you have a Slowpoke's tail? This isn't sounding the greatest, to be honest. Maybe we'll find out soon what's happening around here. And after damn it Rattata, we reach Azalea Town. Azalea? Azulia? I'm sure I'm going to get roasted for that in the comments. As we look up to see a shady character blocking what looks like an underground cavern of some sort, I wonder what this is all about. This game is getting more and more intriguing as we go on. We also find out that the gym is blocked by another one of these shady looking characters. I'm not sure what's happening fully, but I do have to find out what's going on. It's not looking good, to be honest. Once we gain access to Slowpoke Well, I realise that Kurt is an absolute idiot, and is in quite a lot of pain as he just fell down in the well. He also gives us a pep talk, which fills us full of confidence as we go after these gang of thugs, which of course are Team Rocket. We learned earlier that it was thought that they disbanded long ago, but of course they're back up to their nefarious tricks again, using Pokemon for their own evil ends. We make sure to clear them all out, especially when we get to see the horrific scenes of Slowpokes without their tails. Once they are all disbanded, we teleport back to Kurt's house. He shows us his Pokeballs. We get a lure ball as a reward. I decide to head towards the gym again, and we now have access to it. Let's walk in and try our hand at leader Bugsy. Our first attempt with struggle doesn't go that well, if I'm honest with you. Metapod uses harden, so our struggles do absolutely nothing. Plus we're getting hit with recoil damage after each one. We manage to take him out, but we're in rough shape heading into the Kakuna fight. He also has harden, so he can stall us pretty easily like Metapod, but unfortunately for us he knows Poison Sting as well, so we get poisoned also. So we lose health on all fronts. We manage to scrape through to Scyther, but this is all over. He's outspeeding us here, plus he uses quick attack all the time and finishes us off. No biggie, let's heal up and we can use Present again. Nope, this is still as bad as before. We managed to take out Metapod and Kakuna again, but Scyther is still a brick wall. His Fury Cutters don't deal a massive amount of damage, but our presents are really weak. We also heal him sometimes too. So yeah, we faint soon after. This has got to be possible. I'll just keep attempting the fight over and over and see what happens. I can't believe I'm getting stopped by a bug gym of all things. You would have thought being a bird would be a good thing. Okay, 10 minutes later and we get this attempt. We end up taking down Metapod and Kakuna this time, with some of the best luck I've seen with presents so far. We end up being at full health going into the Cypher fight, which is really good. Trust me on that one. I wasn't feeling that confident, to be honest. Just look at our first present, it heals rather than attacks. Not the start I wanted, but his Fury Cutters are not hitting for massive amounts of damage either, so maybe we have a chance at this. Luckily for me, our presence no longer heals Scyther and we chip it away each time. Also, his moves sometimes miss, so we can last a bit longer in this fight. Because of this, we just managed to hang on near the end and get a finishing blow. Now with that out of the way, we defeat Bugsy and take the Hive badge as our reward. Overall, that wasn't too bad. Right, just as we try to leave town, we come across another problem. We have to battle our rival once again. But James, I hear you cry. What is the issue with that? Just stuff him and move on. The bad news is, he has a Ghastly now, which is a ghost type. Our move Present is a normal move, so we can't attack him. He eventually makes us struggle due to the use of Spite, but this is good as over. We can take Ghastly down, but Croconaw just takes us out with a few water guns. I'm not sure how I'm going to get past this, to be honest. I lose my remaining power points on Present so I can use Struggle from the start. Maybe we'll get lucky eventually. But before that, it's youngster Joey giving us a pep talk before we go into battle. Okay, that pep talk was pretty useless. We managed to struggle past Ghastly and Croconaw after a little while, but the third Pokemon is called Zubat. This usually is nothing to worry about, but the fact that we're always taking damage, attacking and defending, we just take ourselves out in the end. We need a new strategy. Since we only need to get past Ghastly with a non-normal move, I soon realised we can learn Mud Slap. We gained this from Falkner earlier in the run, so I slap it on Delibird and get to work. We take Ghastly out after a few Mud Slaps of course, and then we can see what we are like against Crocodile. We used Present a few times originally, but I start to get worried that I'll heal him. So I switched to Mud Slap, which hardly does any damage. But we're lowering accuracy after each attack, so water guns keep missing sometimes. We take it out eventually, but we're in pretty rough shape going into the Zubat fight. Zubat spams Bite as we try to use Present after pressing the wrong button on Mud Slap, which of course doesn't affect him. We eventually go down. It's really close, so I think I just need to keep trying. There's not much more we can do at the moment if we're honest. Half an hour goes by and we get this run. Ghastly still goes down to a few Mud Slaps as normal after accidentally using Present, which does nothing of course. But we go to war with Crocodile. We just hit each other backwards and forwards with everything we have until we just scrape through the knockdown. We pretty much have had all of our feathers plucked as we go into the Zubat fight. I thought we had lost this once again, so I just use Present in the hope it's a one shot. This move doesn't fill me with any confidence. But this time, we actually drop Zubat with one shot, with only having 1 health remaining. The luck I had to get through this one was insane. I'm glad that this is eventually done and now we can progress the run again. Just to chase this stupid Farfetch'd around a forest. It's all good though, because once we reunite him with his owner, we get the Cut HM, which is obviously useful to us. But before we get to use it, youngster Joey calls us once again. How many times are we going to get calls from him in this playthrough? Once we reach Goldenrod City, we head straight for the underground part. Here we come across a mandatory trainer fight. I previously attempted this when I wasn't recording and got annihilated by him. So once we tried this again, I hit the record button thinking it was going to go the same way. But of course, we end up taking him out with not much trouble, so I generally don't know why I recorded this. But in classic James fashion, I kept it in here because I had to, because I had a really good chuckle to myself. This is the cutting edge content you guys and girls like to see on this channel, am I right? Now, once I clear all the trainers in here and reach the exit, I genuinely thought I was progressing the run, but it turns out I'm just on the other side of Goldenrod City. How to say you're a noob at a game without saying you're a noob at a game, am I right? Please comment down below a noob moment from your own past, or roast me for being an idiot. Either is fine. Even youngster Joey decided to ring me up to tell me how stupid I am. I decided to take a look around and ask myself, what am I doing here? Then it hits me, I just found Goldenrod City's gym. So it wasn't a wasted trip after all. On our first attempt at Whitney, we managed to get past Clefairy relatively easily. We just have really terrible luck with our presence hitting for damage, so we heal them a lot. But once Miltank is out, we get absolutely flattened by a super effective rollout. I guess this is where I'm going to meet my match for a little while. Let's face it, it's in the name, Miltank. It's a tank. Okay, you're now looking at half an hour of absolute failure. We sometimes get past Clefairy, we sometimes don't get past Clefairy. Once we get to Miltank, even if we're at full health, which sometimes happen, a few turns of rollout takes us out. Clefairy, with the use of Metronome, even uses moves like Perish Song and Blizzard. How bizarre. I could either keep trying this insanity and probably fail every time, or I could go to a random patch of grass and grind levels, with the hope of taking 2 hits of rollout and eventually having enough damage with Present to take Miltank out. Or we can check out the Goldenrod department store and various other locations we have access to see if we can get a decent TM to deal with this whole situation. So, you meet me at Goldenrod department store. Let's see if we can actually learn something that can help us. Okay, we can't learn any of these. Is there anything else in here? Wait, TM27 is return. We can actually learn that? The only thing is we have to have enough friendship to use this effectively. What I mean is, according to Bulbapedia, the base power of the return varies from 0 at the minimum of friendship and 122 at the maximum friendship. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's head back to the gym. Well, once this battle starts, I accidentally use Present on Clefairy, which is weird, but a critical hits for a one shot, so I thought this is going well. But once Miltank is out, I attempt a return thinking that this could be it. Turns out we only hit for pitiful amount of damage. So again, a few rollouts later we go down again. Now well, it's back to the drawing board. You all probably saw this problem coming from a mile off, didn't you? That's what makes for a really good run, especially blind, when you haven't played the game before. I don't know where I'll end up struggling for your amusement. I decide to go back to Elix Forest to get TM02. This is Headbutt, and we try the gym one more time. Once Clefairy is out, we use Headbutt and it flinches, so we can get one more in for the knockdown. but once Miltank is out we don't get any flinch luck whatsoever and get taken out really quickly again with rollout. Maybe we should just keep trying this in the hope we get flinches? I really don't want to grind levels yet if I'm honest with you. Okay, a little while later we get this run. Clefairy only uses a double slap, so we get a couple of headbutts in taking her out. So next up is the terrifying Miltank, like normal. Miltank goes for rollout again, but this time it misses, so we get a few headbutts in, with the latter making her flinch. We still get hit with rollout straight after, but our follow-up headbutts puts her in yellow health for the first time since I've started this one. We end up going again for reasons I'm unsure of, and we put her in red health. This forces Whitney to heal up using milk drink. This had me on the edge of my seat. What will happen next? We hit headbutt only to do very little damage. Is this all over? Am I going to get stuck here forever? Turns out we end up going again and hit headbutt one more time, getting the much needed critical hit, which takes Miltank down, eventually winning against Whitney, earning the playing badge after she cries her eyes out in the wake of her defeat. What a weird fight this one turned out to be. So, remember this weird dancing plan from earlier in the run? Well, I now have the squirt bottle to figure out what it actually is. So once it awakens in a heap of rage, we find out it's a pseudo-voodoo. I have an epic strategy to deal with this one. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. We soon reach Burnt Tower and I notice my stupid rival's red slick wig of a haircut just waiting for me to have a big fight. Once the battle begins, we soon realise he has a stalling strategy. Haunter out of the gate uses Curse, so eventually we'll be taking more damage each turn. Although our mud slaps don't hit for tons of damage, so we need Curse to take him out. Magnemite has Supersonic, so it's a move that causes confusion. So now we can hit ourselves too. We take him out in a couple of mud slaps, but Curse is in full swing. Coupled with Croconor's tankiness, we end up in bad shape. A few moments later, we lose again. This could be really bad. I'm going to keep trying and see when I get sick and have to gain more levels. Now cue the 42 minutes of utter failure that this fight is. I lose this pretty much the same way all the time, but I soon learn that I can get lucky with critical hits at random times, and I get flinch luck also, so maybe we can win at our current level. Why don't you mention a time in the comments that you struggled with something? I would love to reply to them. Soon after this we get this run. Haunter goes down to the same mud slap and curse combination, but remember we'll start taking damage soon. Magnemite's Supersonic doesn't affect us this time, so we only take little curse damage before taking it out with a few mud slaps. Once Croconor comes out, I hit Headbutt, which is a critical hit taking more than half of its health off. This was really lucky. He even flinches again, so we only take curse damage this time before taking him out eventually. We only have 21 health remaining going into the Zubat fight, so if he uses any attacking move, we will still be finished off by curse. Luckily, we get more flinch luck and narrowly surviving curse with 2 health remaining, getting the 2 hits of Headbutt in on Zubat, dropping his final Pokemon and winning the match. Can I remind you, I only have 2 health left. This was really rough. I thought I'd take this time to plug my Twitter, or X as it's called now. If you want to see a behind the scenes look at the show, why don't you follow me on there? That would be really great, thanks. Anyways, shameless plug now over, we drop into a hole as punishment of our self-promoting our stuff. But we are greeted by 3 legendary dogs, which is a nice surprise. Seeing Suicune, Raikou and Entei was a lovely treat after battling this game so far. And after damage Zubat, we say our goodbyes and head on to the gym. Our first attempt at Morty goes as you would expect, badly. Our mud slap at level 31 doesn't one-shot Ghastly at the start, so he gets a curse in, so we'll be taking damage soon. We end up taking Haunter out eventually, but the writing is on the wall for curse, and it just keeps getting stronger. We still have Gengar to contend with, and if by some miracle we survive that, he could still use his backup Haunter to take us out. This isn't even close, but I want to keep trying just in case. Another 20 minutes of utter failure goes by and we still can't get past Gengar. I was hoping that Morty would just forget he was a gym leader and pick some rubbish moves, but he doesn't. I concede that this isn't possible yet. I don't like the idea of pumping Delibird full of rare candies yet, because I want to keep leveling up at a pretty sensible rate. So I want to check my moves for that one more time, just to see if the answer is right in front of my face this entire time. First of all, I was thinking we could use Fly, but once I checked, you need to use Surf outside of battle. This gives you access to Cianwood City, where Fly is located. But, of course, you need to defeat Morty to use Surf outside of battle, so we can't do that. I keep looking at this list, thinking we don't have many options left, especially ones that hit ghosts. There is one thing that sticks out to me though, and I'm pretty certain you guys can see it too. We can learn Blizzard. It's a powerful but hit and miss sort of move, which can hit the ghost Pokemon that Morty relies on, but we can only get it at Goldenrod Game Corner, so I have to gamble for it. or gain enough money to buy it outright. I'm definitely not going to gamble for it, so I met up with this old geezer and done things I'm really not proud of to gain enough money to get Blizzard. I would tell you what these things were, but I'd probably have to kill you. So now that unpleasant experience is behind me, I can see if we can beat Morty now. This still takes a fair few tries, but once we get a run where we don't miss our moves all the time, it's quite simple. Ghastly is a one-shot to Blizzard. Haunter is a one-shot to Blizzard. Gebgar? Check out that spelling. Hangs on... oh god. Hangs on only to swing and miss with Hypnosis, so we end up dropping him with a follow-up Mud Slap. His last Haunter puts up a little bit more of a fight as we miss Blizzard, but he only uses Mean Look, so we get another chance to hit, dropping his entire team and earning the Fog Badge. We didn't take a single hit. That just shows you. Stay persistent, you might get what you're striving for. As we leave town, we bump into Raikou in its natural habitat with all its majestic glory and tusks. Not being David Attenborough, I had no idea what to say after that. So we reach Olivine Lighthouse and traverse our way all the way to the top, where we see a Pokemon that is very sick and barely clinging on to life at this point. Jasmine gives us a special task to gain some medicine from a town called Cyanwood, just across the sea. We pick up a secret potion and we head back as quickly as we can. This of course does the trick, and Jasmine heads back to her gym and we say our goodbyes to Amphi. I wonder if we can get an easier gym fight soon. Let's find out. Wait, Jasmine uses electric Pokemon? Great, here we go, another hard one. Oh, giggity. As I figured, we eventually go down to Thunderbolt from Magnemite. I'm unsure of the strategy on this one now. As Morty did, this takes me a fair few tries before we get lucky enough to get it right. Magnemite misses with Thunderbolt, so we end up hitting 2 Mud Slaps for the knockdown. Good start, but I'm unsure if this is possible at this point. Exactly the same story happens with the next Magnemite. This is going great, we're getting really lucky with these. We end up going into the Steelix fight at full health. We try Blizzard and miss, so my heart sinks a little bit, knowing that we might be throwing this fight away. But I shouldn't have worried too much, because once we hit, we end up freezing Steelix and taking a good chunk of his health away in the process. This one is now as good as over. Even with a Hyper Potion to heal back up, we still have the advantage. A couple of more blows from Delibird and it's all over. We defeat Jasmine, earning the Mineral Badge. From one gym straight into another one. Let's try our hand at Chuck. This takes a fair few tries as well, but we actually get this attempt. Primate from the start only uses Leah, so we managed to get a couple of headbutts in. So now we can move on to Poliwrath with full health. This became more necessary than I thought because he puts up one hell of a fight. His second attempt at Hypnosis hit, putting us to sleep. This was especially frustrating as we critical hit with massive damage beforehand. So we're just sitting ducks hoping that we wake up. His dynamic punches are a mixed bag, missing more times than they're hitting, so we end up on the edge of our controller hoping for a miracle. But we end up nearly fainting and getting confused. So now we have to contend with that if we wake up. It surely is anyone's fight here. Once Poliwrath hits Surf, I thought I was done, but I survived with 12 health remaining. We wake up soon after and battle through all the confusion and hit one final headbutt, sealing the match and earning a Storm Badge. Phew, that was a close one. Let's not let up on the gym fights. Next up is Price, and we actually do this first time, go figure. Seal only sets up an Icy Wind, so a couple of headbutts do the trick. Dugong is a little bit more scary, but our headbutt hits harder than I thought it would. Still not a 2-shot though. Blizzard critical hits, but it still doesn't take it out. But we hit one more headbutt, which leaves Piloswine left to go. He is an absolute swine, he tanks most of our moves and even has Blizzard. I was hoping for more flinches, but it didn't happen. Of course he heals up with a Hyper Potion, so we have to do that all over again, when we were one shot away from winning the fight. We get 3 more headbutts in, with the second one flinching. This clinches the victory for us, and we take the Glacier Badge as our reward. Does anyone else find this weird? A decrepit old man surrounded by ice. Sounds like an accident waiting to happen, doesn't it? Let's take down the intensity just a little bit and head into Tin Tower and see a pack of legendary dogs jumping over a log fence. That sounded way more dramatic in my head, but Suicune stays behind and challenges us to one-on-one combat. I was so underprepared for this. I have 4 Ultra Balls, so I wanted to catch this so badly. We chuck one and it breaks free. So we go again, and to my delight we got him. I call them SBG Crew after all of you that watch my stuff and do all the other things that content creators like. Without you, this isn't a show, so thank you so much for your continued support. This one was for you. Speaking of intensity, I came across our first Delibird, owned by another trainer. I'm not sure why I left this in, but it's funny I guess. Now it's time for our 8th and final gym badge. Let's see how hard Claire's going to be with all her dragons. She opens up the contest with a Dragonair and we go straight for Blizzard, which is a one-shot. This is a really good start. The next Dragonair falls in the same way as the first. Looks like our luck is holding with Blizzard actually hitting things. Now this is getting silly, Claire. You're doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That is the definition of insanity. Again, another Dragonair falls to Blizzard. This is a really good run so far. Let's see if Kingdra is any different. Nope, she falls to another Blizzard. I'm unsure about the luck needed to hit every Blizzard there, but it must have been quite decent. And with that, wait, what? I have to do something else to get my badge? That's just great. After doing this something else, whatever this is, we gain the Rising badge after getting peer pressured into it by these random triplets in a weird dark room. That is the weirdest thing I've ever said on a Pokemon challenge, by the way. We go back to Cianwood because I forgot Fly earlier, which is dumb because I think that move is going to save us this run. Also, I think it will be influential in defeating the Elite Four and the champion. We enter Victory Road and it looks desolate, nobody around for miles. Oh wait, guess not, our rival has caught up to us once again. This whole fight has not got me worried, to be honest. We take all of them out with not much trouble. We are both complete opposites. Me and Delibird are two sides of the same coin. We respect each other, whilst our rival steals Pokemon and uses Pokemon to his own evil ends. Let's enter the Indigo Plateau and put this challenge to bed. But before that, it's youngster Joey wishing us all well in our challenge, so let's celebrate his involvement in the whole journey. Okay, you're just taking the mick now. I can't just walk into my destiny. Stop ringing me. Yes, I waited near the door for nearly an hour. I went and got some food and spent some time with my family and came back in hoping that he rang again. Dumb gag, I know. Can we take down the Elite Four? Make your predictions in the comments, everyone. First up is Psychic Trainer Will. This took a few tries, but eventually Xatu takes decent damage from Fly, but gets a confused rear in. This could become really bad very quickly, if I'm honest. Luckily we hit with the follow-up headbutt, taking him down. Next up is Jinx, and to everyone's shock, we actually get through the first part of Fly and hang in the air. Jinx misses with a lovely kiss, and we soar down from the heavens and take Jinx out. This is going great this time. Slowbro has the power to tank our moves and take us out if we're not careful, so let's not count our chickens before they hatch just yet. He uses moves like Amnesia, so his special defense grows, which isn't great either. We hit a couple of flies and tank a Psychic, setting us up to take Slowbro out on the following turn. His second Xatu is now out and tanks a Fly, and drops our health to 41, just to heal up with a max potion. We critical hit our next Fly, which was 100% necessary, to take him out with one shot, leaving us with a small buffer for his final Pokemon, Executor, which goes down to one Fly. We nearly lost that one, again. Second is Poison Trainer Koga. Again, this wasn't straightforward either, and took a few attempts. But eventually, Ariados goes down to Fly naturally, which is super effective, but he managed to stall us with Double Team first. Fortress only uses weak moves like Swift for some reason, so after a few attempts we get 2 Blizzards in, necessary to take him out. Muck is a bit more tanky, so I try Fly, which hits for massive damage to be fair. He misses Toxic, which saved us big time, and we get another Fly in taking him out. Venomoth is an easy one shot to Fly, which then leaves Crobat. We hit Fly, take a weak wing attack and hit the final Fly, dropping Koga's team. Third is Fighting Trainer Bruno, and we failed miserably on our first attempt, but in fairness we get to Machamp, coming agonisingly close to beating him. We end up going down soon after. I tried this a few times and realised quickly it wasn't possible. Machamp needs to be a one shot, so we ingest a few rare candies and get to level 70 and try this again. Hitmontop eventually goes down to a couple of headbucks after protecting itself and getting a quick attack in, causing us some minor damage. Hitmonchan goes down to a single Fly, Onyx goes down to a single Blizzard, and Machamp is now a one shot with Blizzard, which is necessary for this run to be successful. This of course leaves Hitmonlee, which goes down to a single Fly, dropping Bruno's entire team. Last but not least is Dark Trainer Karen. Umbreon goes down to 3 headbutts after flinching twice, which is a great start. Houndoom and Delibird tank shots back and forth, until eventually Houndoom falls. I'm glad she goes down because them flamethrowers are immense. Gengar goes down to a single Blizzard, Vileplume misses Stun Spore, so we take her down with one shot of Fly. Murkrow drops to a single shot of Blizzard, and with that, the entire Elite Four has been defeated by a single Delibird. Last but not least is Pokemon Champion Lance. Let's fulfill my destiny. Gyarados is out first and we set up Fly and he sets up a Rain Dance. Once we hit, we nearly take him out, but of course we get hit with Surf straight after. Once we can hit with Headbutt, Gyarados falls. Next up is Charizard, and this can become very scary depending on move selection. We go for Fly, which does decent amount of damage, but we get hit with Flamethrower, dropping us to yellow health. We then get a chance to take him out on our next turn. Dragonite goes down to 1 Blizzard, Dragonite 2 eventually goes down to 1 Blizzard when it actually hits him, Aerodactyl goes down to 1 Blizzard, and of course his final Dragonite goes down to 1 Blizzard, sealing the win and putting both our names into the history books, winning the run and putting Delibird and of course the SBG crew mascot Suicune into the Hall of Fame. I really hope you're enjoying this festive season, and thank you for all your support you've been showing me lately. It's been immense. Why don't you stay tuned for the next time when we try and beat Pokemon Fire Red with only a Skitty. Thanks Sage of Time for that one, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time.